Hi everyone, my name is Cassandra. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be guiding you through a 30-minute Vinyasa Flow practice, and we will be focusing primarily on twists. So let's get started. Down in child's pose, big toes come to touch, knees are apart, and folding forward, allowing the forehead to rest comfortably on the mat. Focus on your breathing here, sending it all the way down to the belly, feeling it rise and fall. And with every exhale, allow your hips to sink a little bit closer towards your heels and your heart to melt a little bit further in between your shoulder blades. Slowly come all the way up into a tabletop position, palms underneath the shoulders, knees stacked underneath the hips. As you inhale, drop the belly and lift the gaze, coming into a cow pose. Exhale, round the spine, bringing chin to chest for cat. Inhale, drop the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades behind your back, and as you exhale, press your knuckles into the mat, belly button to spine. A few more here at the rhythm of your own breath. Focusing on creating length through the spine. Preparing it for all the twists we'll be doing. On your next inhale, please come back to center. And as you exhale, twist, bringing your left shoulder to your left hip. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, right shoulder comes to the right hip, extending through the left rib cage. Inhale, back to center, twisting left shoulder to left hip, back into neutral. Right shoulder comes to the right hip. And then please inhale, right arm rises towards the sky, and as you exhale, bring your right arm down as well as your right ear, coming in to thread the needle. You can stay exactly where you are here, or if you prefer, you can extend the right arm up and hook it at your sacrum or at your inner left thigh crease. Another option is to extend through that left leg and maybe seeing if the leg will hover up. Careful not to roll over here. Engage your abdominals. Few deep breaths and lowering down very carefully, bringing that left knee back. Set your left palm back down onto the mat, and as you inhale, right arm rises all the way back up before setting it down on the exhale. And switching sides, left arm rises on the inhale, and as you exhale, bring it down as you lower your left ear onto the mat. You have the option of bringing your right palm down onto your sacrum and maybe extending back through your right leg, pressing into the ball of your right foot, and maybe seeing if that leg will hover up. Exhale, lower your leg back down onto the mat, bring your knee back. Unhook the arm from behind your sacrum if you had that variation, setting it back on the ground, and inhale, left arm rises up to the sky, setting it down onto the floor and coming into our first downward dog of the day. Curl back toes under and lift hips up and back. Make sure your feet are hip width distance apart and that your palms are shoulder width distance apart. And here just start pedaling the legs, bending into one knee and then the other. And as you inhale, please come forward into plank, bringing the shoulders over the palms. Holding here for 5 deep breaths. Always know that you can come onto your knees at any time here. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Please walk your palms to the back of the mat, hanging heavy in a ragdoll position. Bend your knees generously so your belly can comfortably rest on your thighs. And allow your head to be very heavy here so your neck can be relaxed. Maybe sway from side to side, inviting a little bit further relaxation. And feel free to grab for opposite elbows. Slowly bring your big toes to touch as you sink your hips down, bending at the knees and coming up into Utkatasana chair pose. Arms can be alongside the ears or can come in a prayer position at the center of the chest. As we move in for a twist here, bring your right elbow onto your left thigh. Noticing if your right knee has crept up forward in this twist, make sure that both hips are aligned. Press firmly into your palms here. Inhale back to center, moving onto the second side. Left elbow comes over the right thigh. Make sure this twist is coming from your lumbar spine and that it's not just your shoulders doing all of the work. Press your belly button all the way back. Keep your hips low, maybe seeing if you can lift all 10 toes off of the ground. Come back to center and rise up into Tadasana mountain pose. Please step your way up to the top of your mat, moving into vinyasas. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, palms come to touch. Exhale, swan dive forward, fold down, bending at the knees. Inhale, halfway lift, palms come onto the shins. Exhale, fold down and step your right foot back, lowering your right knee onto the mat, coming into Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge, as both arms rise up to reach overhead. Keep your tailbone tucking under here, not creating too much curve into your lumbar spine. Bring both palms to the center of the chest, coming into another twist as your right elbow hooks over top your left thigh. And here you have a little bit more space to let the hips lower down. Inhale back to center, bring your palms onto the ground, curl your back toes under and step your left foot back to meet your right. Come onto your knees this first time as you lower all the way down onto the mat for 3 baby cobras. Inhale, chin, chest, and palms rise up. Exhale, lower down. Ground your feet in the mat. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Engage your thighs. Inhale, come up. Exhale, softly lower down. Ground your palms. Move back through tabletop, curling the toes under, coming into downward facing dog. Second side, step your right foot in between your hands to the top of the mat, lowering your left knee down, coming on up with the arms. Taking a few breaths here before we move into our twist. Drop your shoulders behind your back. Please bring your palms to heart center, moving into a twist. As you exhale, your left elbow comes over top your right thigh. Let your hips sink down. One more breath. Step your palms back down, curl your back toes under, step your right foot to meet your left, and lower all the way down onto your belly. 3 more baby cobras. Chin, chest, and palms rise up. Exhale, lower them down. Inhale, chin, chest, and palms rise up. Squeeze your legs. Exhale, come on down. Inhale to rise. Exhale, ground your palms, move back through tabletop, curling your toes under, back in downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises towards the sky, and keep your right toes pointing down so that your right hip rolls inwards. Lower down on the exhale, switching sides, left leg rises towards the sky. Engage your feet, spread your toes, and roll that right thigh down. Lowering on the exhale, look to the top of the mat and step or hop your feet in between your hands. Halfway lift on the inhale. Folding forward on the exhale. Press to stand as arms reach up overhead, filling up the lungs and lowering all the way back down as you exhale. Halfway lift, back is flat, Exhale, step your right foot back, this time staying high on the ball of your right toes, coming into Crescent lunge as you reach both arms up overhead. Bend into your right knee so your pelvis can be leveled underneath your shoulders. Engage your abdominals here. Moving into a twist here as well, please place your right palm down onto the ground as you stack your left shoulder over top your right. You can always use a block under your right palm here if the floor is not accessible to you. And always know that you can lower your right knee on the ground at any time. Bring your left palm back down, step your left foot back to meet your right, this time lowering from upper push-up all the way down. One cobra here as you press into the mat. Chest and head are off of the ground. Hips are still on the mat. Roll your shoulders away from the ears and slowly make your way back down. Moving through tabletop position into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, moving into the second side as you come up into Crescent lunge, this time bending into your left knee, again leveling the pelvis underneath your shoulders, pressing your belly button towards your spine and rolling your shoulder blades down your back. Bring your left palm down onto the floor as your right shoulder stacks over top your left. Twisting from the lumbar spine and still pressing firmly into the mat with both feet. Look wherever is comfortable for you. Bring your right palm back down onto the mat, back into high plank as you lower all the way down onto your belly. Cobra on the inhale. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind your back and slowly move down, coming back into downward dog. Right leg rises on the inhale, and this time bend your right knee, opening up through that right hip, but make sure your shoulders and upper body have not changed. You're only twisting at the hips, not at the shoulders. Inhale to straighten that right leg and lower it back down onto the mat, switching sides. Left leg rises. Bend your left knee, opening up through your left hip, but still rolling that left shoulder down. Trying to make your knee the highest point. Straighten it back out as you lower down. Look to the top of the mat, step or hop in between your hands. Halfway lift on the inhale, folding down as you exhale. Press to stand, arms reach overhead, moving into our third set as you fold down. Halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back and this time plant your heel down as we move into a warrior two stance. Arms reach up as you stack your shoulders directly over top your hips. Gaze comes through the middle left finger. Press firmly through all four corners of your feet here. Keep trying to open up through that left knee, rotating your left hip externally. Inhale, bring your palms back onto your hips and pivot onto the other side for warrior two again. So this time your right foot is pointing towards the back of your mat, and your left foot is parallel to the short edge of your mat, gazing through the middle right finger. Cartwheel both hands down as you step your right foot back to meet your left, coming into chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward in between your hands. Pivot your right heel onto the ground, coming into warrior two a second time. Staying strong through the legs here. Pivot your right toes in as you turn the left ones out, coming into warrior two again on the second side. Keep pressing your right knee open. Cartwheel both hands down, step your right foot back to meet your left. Chaturanga on the exhale. Upward dog on the inhale. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward in between your palms to the top of the mat. Spin your left heel down flat, and this time make sure you have your block in grabbing distance, maybe grabbing it with your right hand. We'll be moving into triangle as you straighten out that right foot. And slowly start to tip forward as you send your hips back, moving your upper body forward, dropping your right block, and stacking your left shoulder over top your right. Try to keep both knees straight here and maybe play with the height of the block. And if you don't want to use it and want to focus on abdominal strength, you can simply press the outside of your right palm into your right shin, using your obliques to keep you up. Bring your left palm back down, bend into your right knee as we turn to the other side, turning the left toes out, right toes in. Triangle pose as this time you grab the block with your left hand, extend out and lower down, stacking your right arm above your left. Maybe looking up if this is comfortable for you, otherwise you can keep the head in neutral. Keep broadening through your shoulder blades and slowly bend into your left knee, coming into high plank, chaturanga, upward dog, and downward dog. Moving through your vinyasa. Step your right foot forward in between your hands, pivot your left foot back, this time at a 45-degree angle, coming into reverse triangle as you grab the block with your left hand, and as you exhale, fold forward, placing it to the outside of your right foot. Maybe keep your right palm on your hip here, otherwise you're welcome to extend up, stacking one shoulder above the other, trying to have both hips face the top of the mat. Right palm lowers back down onto the floor. Bring your block with you as we transition to the other side, spinning the right toes in, pointing the left toes out. Block is in the right hand, and as you exhale, come to place it on the outside of your left foot. Twisting from your lumbar spine, belly button hugs back, and right arm reaches up. Notice your breath here. Lower your top arm back down onto the mat, bending into your left knee. Inhale, high push-up. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward dog on the inhale, transitioning back into downward facing dog. Look to the top of the mat, step or hop your feet. Halfway lift, back is flat on the inhale and folding down. Press to stand, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, both hands to the center of the chest. Please step your left foot back, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Both feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. And slowly exhale to fold forward, bending from the hips. Bring your fingertips onto the ground and slowly lower your head. Relaxing your neck, relaxing your spine, and maybe bringing your palms in line with your feet. Keep pressing down through all four corners of your feet here. Breathing into the hamstrings. Coming back into your flat back as we invite a twist into this pose. Keep your left palm on the ground, and as you inhale, raise your right arm up, stacking right shoulder over top of your left, maybe looking up. Exhale your right palm back down, switching sides. Left arm rises on the inhale. Stay connected to your breathing. exhale, your top arm comes back down onto the mat, and this time walk both palms over onto your right foot, getting a little bit deeper into your right hamstring. The further out you stretch your left fingertips, the more intense the stretch through your left side body will be. Walk your hands back to center, switching sides as fingertips come over onto the left foot. Allow the head to relax here. Micro bend in both knees so you're not hyperextending. And see if you can let your hamstrings let go. Slowly make your way back to center. Turn your heels in as your big toes point out, coming into goddess pose with the hands on the knees. Roll your right shoulder down for a twist through the thoracic spine. Inhale back to center, switching sides as your left shoulder drops back down. Inhale, come back to center and straighten out the legs, stepping both feet to the top of the mat, moving in a chair variation, bringing big toes to touch, heels an inch apart. Cross your right ankle over top your left thigh, bringing hands at heart center, and slowly start to bend through your left knee as you send your hips back, starting to feel a stretch through your right thigh. Keep your right foot firmly flexed to protect your right knee, and you can incorporate a twist here by slowly bringing your right elbow to rest on the inside of your right foot, pressing your hands together firmly to open up through the collarbones. Make sure this twist is coming from your lumbar spine by hugging your belly button towards your back. Take a few more breaths here, keeping your hips low. Slowly release the twist, coming back to center, and this time cross your right thigh over top your left, maybe hooking the toes as you come into eagle. Right arm swings underneath your left, maybe binding at the wrists as well as you sink your hips down, lengthening down your lower back, creating a nice long spine. One more inhale here. And as you exhale, release arms, reach up overhead, preparing for the second side, as this time your left ankle crosses over top your right thigh, flexing your left foot, starting to bend through your right leg, sending your hips down and back, preparing for the twist on the inhale. And as you exhale, start bringing your left elbow to the inside of your left foot. Keep trying to stack your shoulders, right shoulder over top of left. Head stays in line with your body. Keeping the back of the neck long so there's no compression. And try to ground firmly into all four corners of your right foot. Slowly come back up, crossing your left thigh over top of your right, maybe hooking the toes under, sinking your hips down into eagle pose, and this time left arm crosses underneath your right, maybe hooking the wrists as well. Hug your belly button in close towards your spine, lengthening your tailbone down. Find your balance here and stay connected to your breath. Finding stability through your right leg for one more breath. And on your next exhale, go ahead and release that pose. Arms reach up above head. And as you exhale, swan dive, fold forward here, creating space in between both feet, a little bit more than hip width distance apart, hooking the big toes with your two peace fingers, inhaling into a flat back. And as you exhale, round down into a forward fold, keeping a micro bend in the knees here. Squat down into Malasana, Yogi squat. If you can't go all the way down while keeping your heels onto the mat, you can always roll a towel underneath them and use your biceps to press your knees out towards the sides, creating a little bit more space. Lower your hips back down onto the mat so you're coming into a seated position. We'll be moving into a seated twist from here, extending your right leg out so it's straight and crossing your left foot over top your right thigh. You can choose to keep your right leg straight here, or maybe bending at the right knee, bringing that right foot in close towards your hips. From here, we'll set our left fingertips back behind us a few inches, and as you inhale, right arm rises towards the sky, and on the exhale, maintain that length as you move into a twist, grabbing onto your left thigh, or maybe hooking that right elbow into the thigh crease. Keep sending your breath all the way down the length of your spine, making sure that you're not curving into your lower back. And keep pressing firmly through all four corners of your feet, moving into a counter twist here as you get out of it on the exhale, and then slowly coming back to neutral, moving into knee pile pose here as you stack your right knee over top your left, flexing both feet. You can grab your props here as we lower down into a forward fold. So getting pretty intense down into the hips, so really use your props here if they are needed. You can always choose to stack your fists underneath your forehead, or just simply let your arms rest down on the mat and let gravity pull you a little bit deeper as you relax your head down. Slowly start to come back up, and you'll release this knee pile stance by bringing both feet onto the mat and doing a windshield wiper motion with the knees just to release the lower back. And then when you're ready, we'll come into the twist on the second side. This time your left leg is out straight and you're crossing your right ankle over your left thigh, maybe bending that left knee, bringing your left knee close towards your hip. Right fingertips are behind your sacrum a few inches. As you inhale, left arm rises over your head, and as you exhale, move into your twist, maybe grabbing onto your right thigh or hooking your left elbow to the inside of that right thigh crease for a little bit more leverage. Notice if your breathing has become constricted in these poses. Your breath should be free and very expansive. If you find your breath is shallow, you might be twisting a little bit too much and need to back out. Slowly twist the other way, releasing and coming back to center for knee pile on the second side. This time your left knee is stacked over top your right. Both sits bones are grounded down on the mat, and slowly start to fold down, maybe grabbing a block, grabbing some props, or stacking your fists underneath your forehead. Keep rolling your shoulders down and away from your ears, maintaining integrity through the neck so that the head can be heavy and relaxed. And we'll take 5 more breaths right here. Slowly start to lift back up, uncrossing the knees and doing that windshield wiper motion once again, sending the knees from one side and then the other. And then from here, we'll lay down on our back, making sure that you have a block handy in grabbing distance. Bend your knees, soles of the feet are flat on the mat as you place your block firstly on the lowest level underneath your sacrum, and then raising both legs up towards the sky. And keep a nice bend in your knees here as we revert the energy and let the weight of your legs sink down into your hips, down into the block. As we start to wind down from our practice, see if you can slow down your breathing as well, feeling the belly rise and fall. Staying in this mild inversion for a few more breaths before we move into shavasana, our final resting pose. Start bending at the knees, bringing the soles of your feet back down onto the mat. Press them into the floor as you lift your hips up, moving the block out of the way. And let's just hug both knees in towards the chest here, maybe rocking from side to side, massaging the lower back. Preparing for corpse pose, shavasana, so lengthening both legs out onto the mat. Arms come to either side. Take up as much space as you're comfortable taking, with palms facing towards the sky, maybe allowing the eyes to close as you bring the attention inward. And allow the breath to be passive here. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Please stay in shavasana as long as you're comfortable too. Namaste.